Okay, Ernesto, why did you make this film?
I made this film because I wanted to make a project over the Berlin Wall, and I'm gonna interview Oliver Utzman.
Very good.
What is your name?
Oliver Ostermann is my name.
And where are you from?
From Germany, Dortmund, Germany.
Dalton, Germany. And you were in Berlin when the wall came down?
I was exactly there the moment where it was opened, yes.
Great. When was the wall built?
1961 was started to build, and it lasted up to 1989, where it finally broke down under political pressure.
Great. Why was the wall built?
Why the wall was built? It was the idea of East Germany being a communist country in the Soviet pact with the Soviets, Bulgaria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia. And since West Germany was a capitalistic city, or a country, they wanted to have a border and wanted not be connected to them anymore. So they shut West Germany out of their plans and made it impossible for their citizens to cross into a capitalistic area. That was the main idea behind the wall.
How long was the wall?
Over 800 miles, what would come up to 1,378 kilometers.
Did it go?
Did the Berlin Wall go into the ocean?
It did, not the wall itself, but it was wire fenced, and so you could not cross from East Germany into West German coastal area, and patrol boats would patrol there. And if you would try to cross that border, you would have been shot. If you would have tried to swim over or jump over the wire fence.
Why would someone want to leave East Germany for West Germany?
Because of the oppression you got from the state. You are talking about the Stasi there, which was watching their own citizens if they were good communists. And if you said something against the leading party, what was only one party at that time, it was called the SED, then you could go into jail for a certain amount of time without you knowing how long you will be in there. It could be for 5 years, it could be for 20 years, it could be lifelong, depending on what you said.
Which side had more people?
West Germany had by far more, because the cities were bigger than the East German population.
What was life like for people on the west side?
Oh, well, on the west side was pretty good because they could buy everything. They were not oppressed. They had a working democracy, so they could really influence their living, and especially since the German West Germany had this whole industry of cars and wanted steel. They didn't really had a problem. And we had a working health system, and all that made West Germany the richer country of them both. And with being rich comes to be satisfied. So I think it was the easier living in West Germany, that's for sure.
So people wanted to come over for
For personal gain, of course. You cannot blame someone being healthy.
Right.
They wanted to be able to buy a car whenever they wanted. In East Germany, you had to wait for a car 20 years. That means parents or grandparents would buy or order the car when the kid was born. So they had a car.
Oh my God. Okay. What about life on the east side? You've been telling us a little bit.
Yeah, life on the east side. It was like we have to stand together, and nobody really believed in it because everybody knew that they were watched. And they had the feeling being watched everywhere. So how would someone feel knowing that he only needs to say something and he can go to jail directly? you were so spied on that they had real problems talking about anything. And there was no room where you could not go on the beach and would be safe to say something. There was actually no place for you to say anything.
So what about your wife or your kids? What would happen?
Later, it came out that even partners in marriage were spying on each other. So, one case of a East German poet, he found out after the wall opened, because then they could look at the files of the Stasi, that his wife, for over 20 years, was the main mole spying on him. Yeah, that gave some tension at that time.
No kidding. Okay. And you lived on which side of the wall?
Oh, West Germany.
West
yes.
Germany. Okay. What year did the wall come down?
1989. I was in Berlin because we wanted to see a concert.
What
And,
concert?
Yeah,
Who were you seeing?
it was actually the Scorpions at that time,
Oh, cool.
and they were actually there then when the wall opened. They changed the venue. When the wall opened, they were the first act singing in front of the wall.
That is totally awesome. That is totally awesome. Wow.
Their song was, by the way, Wind of Change.
Wind of Change, yeah? Awesome. I'll have to play that for the kids. That's too cool. Okay, was it planned? Was the wall coming down planned?
No, it was foreseeable, but it was not planned, because we had the Mondays demonstrations, which were organized by the two churches. So yes, there was already a hint of that, and actually before the wall came down, a lot of East Germans already wandered out into West Germany over Czechoslovakia. They were allowed to go to Czechoslovakia for holidays. They were never allowed to go on holidays into a capitalistic city or country. So they had to stay in Bulgaria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia for their holidays. Only very privileged people were allowed into West Germany. If you were a politician or sports in soccer or something like that, then you could cross the borders. But a lot of East Germans who were the first in West Germany came actually over the Czechoslovakian border. They ran it down. They would occupy the embassy. And they pressured actually Czechoslovakia in opening their borders to West Germany. That is how it all started. And then that was known in East Germany, and then the pressure got so high that the wall could not stand anymore. And Egon Krenz, the president of East Germany at that time, had to say, okay, we have to open it, otherwise we are looking at a war here, at a civil war. So they opened the borders because they could not stand the pressure anymore. They knew they were done.
Okay. You said something last night about the churches. Was there? Could you go to church in East Berlin?
Yeah, of course you could go there, but that would be very suspicious, because Catholics, as much as Protestants, were not really wanted, because socialism doesn't believe in church. That comes already with Karl Marx. He already didn't trust it, any religion. He said it's opium for the people, and it shades your judgment. So in socialist states, church always had a hard time. They existed, but they were very closely watched. And if you were going there, you were under the risk of being asked by the Stasi why you were believing in something ridiculous like that.
Gotcha. That's good. And did the churches have any? What was their say in the wall coming down?
They motivated the Monday demonstrations. This demonstrations go on for months before the wall broke down. It was more a candle walk. So they were about 60,000 it started with. You had a white candle and you would walk. And they demanded for the wall to be opened. Totally peacefully, and it came that the Stasi sent some of their inner police, security police in, and was bashing them actually down. And when that started, this Monday marches really became famous, and more people saw it, and more people joined.
Hmm.
At the highest point, there were over 1 million people walking it.
So they
That
would
is
just,
how unsatisfied the people were and
Right.
want to change. If you cannot even buy a banana in your country, you know, because it's so expensive that you would have to work over a month for it, then yeah, you are unsatisfied and they wanted to have to change, especially because they could see West German TV. So they saw all the status symbols and they knew they could not get it. And that is one of the big motivations of the wall being open. To see what you could have, but
Right.
you cannot get because someone didn't want you to have it.
right, not even a banana.
Right.
How did it feel to see the Berlin Wall go down?
That was a big moment for Germany, for both sides. You have to see that grandmothers hadn't seen their grandkids, even their kids, for over 20 years. I mean, this city Berlin was cut in two, and nobody was asked. You were not asked if you want to stay on the one side or the other side.
Oh.
You were just walled in. And when it started in 1961, there was already the army standing there, so you could not get out. Even if there was not a wall at that time, the border was already watched, and
Right.
you were not capable of going over anymore. So fathers saw their kids for the first time, or grandfathers saw their grandkids for the first time.
From 1961 to
Yes.
1989,
Yes,
there
exactly.
was no
No,
contact.
yeah, there was contact allowed
Oh.
to a certain degree, but you could not really tell anyone anything because the Stasi would look at your mail and would read the mail and would cross out areas they would not like the other one to see. So very heavy censorship.
Okay.
And if you try to get some goods in, like bananas or a pineapple or something like that, it would have been confiscated. So things like that would not go through. Yeah, you had a basic contact, but you could not see each other or something like that.
So were the people on the east side, were they malnourished? Did they have enough
No,
stuff
no,
to be healthy?
It was not that they were malnourished. They had the basics, of course. The problem was that they had foot marks. You had to wait for it.
Okay.
You would not get banana or oranges or something like that, but you would get an apple or a pear or something like that. You would not be malnourished. You had fish and all that.
Okay.
But the real higher goods, what is capitalistic kind of sort of to have a banana or a melon or something like that, that was the sign for capitalism.
Okay.
So you were not allowed it.
Were the leaders able to get that
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of stuff?
Oh yeah, and they had it. They had caviar, they had champagne, they had everything.
Everything that.
That is exactly the problem why it exploded. Sooner or later, people knew
Right.
that there is a difference between that socialist and you socialist,
Right.
and that you couldn't get a car in 20 years, and they could get a car in 1 day,
Right.
and
Like
a
we
best
can-
car at that.
Are parts of the wall still standing?
They are like a monument, standing, and we have them, of course, in some museums. Parts of it stand, but where the border was, yes, we have parts of the wall still standing there. Not as long, of course, anymore, but
Right.
about 100 meters, 200 meters of wall at a time, where you can see the pictures which were sprayed on. Yes, we want to have that. We want to remember.
Why do you want to remember?
Because it was a big moment. The building of it as well as the coming down of it. Both stood for total freedom at one moment in 1989, and the one in 1961 when it began stood for total oppression by a state. So that is important to see. It was a closure of a state and the opening of a state coming together again. And what it meant for Germany as East and West together, because that had some very political follow-ups, because Germany is one of the biggest, or the biggest state in Europe now. And a lot of people didn't want that. or were very afraid of it. I mean, we were the Germany of 1945 again. We were the big Germany again. And before it was kind of manageable, it was not really wanted that the Russians had it, but on the other hand, for the Allies, Berlin is not the main capital of Germany anymore. And now it is again. So when Germany came together again, the French were very afraid of a newly empowered Germany and a newly empowered economy, because a big country like that can generate quite a cash flow. And it didn't came to that, but the fear was there that maybe the Germans would march again. Not in a war way maybe, but in economy ways.
As a power.
Like buying up other European countries.
Right. Did Germany join the European Union?
They were the builder of the European Union.
Oh, they were. I didn't know
Yes.
that. Okay.
It was Germany under Helmut Kohl and Mitterrand of the French. They both had the idea that we need a counter market to the Pan-American market, because it was too strong and the dollar was too strong. So there was an interest of having something, a trade union like the Pan-American market was with Mexico and Canada at that time. And we wanted to have something to hold against that so that we can keep our currencies quite high.
Great. Awesome. Thank you for for your interview.
Thank you, Oliver, for the
Interview.
interview.
General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.